half an hour now.
Yeah, as they do.
Well, in a way, you should have expected to have such enthusiastic fans, because I'm guessing you were a fan of the Star Wars movies. You knew about them because you grew up with them.
Prequels. That's the first Star Wars movies I watched. Prequels. So,
and is it true that if you saw the prequels first, then those are your favorite Star Wars movies? Like me, like an old person?
Yeah, pretty much. And then I had to go back and I realized,
these
1977, these is old. Yeah, wow. But I love them.
Well, I'm going to jump into this audience, and they're just going to raise their hands. We'll have them ask you questions for like half an hour.
Perfect.
So, sorry for your cameras. Here I come. Sweet beanie. Well, so if you have any questions, there we go immediately.
Hello. I have a question, and it's about the upcoming new Jedi movie. Is there any chance we finally get the Jedi we deserved from the sequels? Finn.
Unfortunately, no.
No?
Yes. I think Rey is the only cast member that's been announced, and then they're gonna bring in, I think, some new people. So I'm not involved in that. I'm just 3 movies and done. I don't know what the other one is gonna be, but I am gonna be watching it though. I'm gonna watch it for sure. Deadpool right there. Eventually we'll get to you, Deadpool.
Hello there. My favorite part is still part of the 80s, the Return of the Jedi with his name?
I love Return of the Jedi too.
Yeah. With
all of them.
The original cast.
Yeah.
But I was wondering which one of you was most inspiring you at Star Wars.
Which movie is the most inspiring?
Of the original 3, you mean? Which one of the original?
It's Return of the Jedi. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Return of the Jedi. That's my favorite one. Yeah.
Why?
Return of the Jedi. Well, the action, the stakes are a little bit higher. Everybody knows their role in the fight. I like it when the characters are just ready to just go to war. That's the difference between us and Star Trek. We get things done.
I thought you would at least mention the Ewoks.
Oh yeah, that too. They're cute.
Let's go to Deadpool here. Yeah, take some time.
Okay, so I'm definitely going to piss off some Star Wars fans over here with this question.
Do it.
I don't care, honestly. When are you going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I have no idea.
When are you going to send all of your letters to the Marvel Studios and say, hey, there's this guy, John Boyega, maybe you should consider him?
You guys are the real bosses, so you know.
I do have some influence in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Personally, I couldn't even use some cocaine sentences, something like that, because Kevin Feige is such a bastard, honestly, but...
I love Kevin.
I know. I'm gonna hit you up with him. Yes.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
See, that's how things are done right here.
Hi, John.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I was wondering, do you still see the other castmates from time to time? Catch up with Daisy. Do you still talk to them and see them regularly?
Oscar Moore.
Oh, nice.
Oscar Moore. Daisy's been very, very busy. I think right now she's in the Philippines filming. So I'll text her and ask her where she is, and then call her a big head, and then speak to her in 2 weeks. So I'm like the annoying little brother to her. You know what I mean? Yeah. But she's fine. Oscar's fine. Everyone's good. Yeah. Thank you for asking.
Hey Finn, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to see you, man, again.
Yeah, thank you.
Big fan. Force Awakens, great movie, my favorite. How was you working with Daisy Ridley on The Force Awakens, and how?
It's cool. We're like siblings, you know? Yeah, it's good. She's from London, I'm from London. I had done a lot more work before, so it was good to kind of like see her go through the filming process and become a professional. That was cool. But yeah, it was good times, loads of laughter and good times. She's a cool girl. Mm-hmm. Why are you asking?
Because you two both are my favorites.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted. Okay, all right.
Daisy's asked him to check whether you had anything
That's
bad
what
to
I.
tell us.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Nothing but nice words.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Hello there.
Hello.
What is your favorite video game about Star Wars?
What does my family feel about Star Wars?
Favorite video game?
Oh, my favorite Star Wars video game, Battlefront 2.
Me too.
Yeah, Battlefront 2. Online only. Online only.
Hi, which one of the trilogies do you like best? Prequels, originals, or sequels?
Oh,
Who said sequels? Okay.
I would say prequels. Prequels. It just holds a dear space in my heart, and it was the first time I have ever been exposed to Star Wars, so it would be the prequels. And then when I went back, I think the prequels kind of messed me up because the effects were much more advanced. So when when someone told me there are more Star Wars movies, I thought that they were the sequels, and no, they were like, oh, there's more in the past. Since 1977, I went back and was just like, yeah, I prefer a little bit more of the visual effects of how it was in a, more futuristic.
Good, then here on your right.
Hello.
Hello.
What did you want to say to Ray when you were singing
In the quicksand,
Yes.
that he's a Jedi and he has the Force. Yeah.
Can you give us a scream, your iconic scream, Ray?
Oh no.
Well, I think they can scream really well.
I never want to scream her name again, honestly. I think I've screamed that for the last 8 years, so
I think they've secretly heard it online probably.
Yeah,
so they
yeah.
know how it goes. So maybe if we count down from like 1, 2, 3, and they do their best Ray. And
yeah, I think they should do
and
it.
then you
I've
say,
done my time.
And then you say from 1 to 10 you rate them.
I rate them.
As
Okay.
an audience.
All right,
Okay.
let's go.
Iedereen klaar voor je beste Ray?
Ja.
1, 2, 3.
We'll be in touch. No, that was good. That was good.
Excellent. All right.
Hi, I was wondering which character trait do both you, John, and Finn share?
None whatsoever, unfortunately. But that's what's exciting. I like going for roles that have nothing to do with who I am. So even the way I speak, my accent, people hear me and they go, "What? You're not from?" And I go, "Yeah, see, that's why I like Finn so much. He's so far removed from how I would be. I would never have gone on the whole adventure in the first place, to be honest with you. I've been too scared. I've been like, nah, we're not trying to find Luke Skywalker. I'm gonna stay home." So Finn is better than me in certain aspects, you know what I mean?
So first of all, may the force be with you guys.
Oh yeah, happy May the 4th, everybody. Happy May the 4th. Yeah.
So you just mentioned that you and Finn, they're basically very separate people, like you're very, very far away from your character. So could you please explain and tell us who was your inspiration? How did you what was the process to prepare for this role? Because you're a stormtrooper who gained this consciousness that you're doing something wrong. And I think that was insane. For me as a fan, that was insane.
Yeah. There wasn't a particular person of inspiration. It was more so what we cultivated with JJ over the long audition process. Who JJ thought Finn was from the script that he, collaborated on and created. And then I based it off of, what the studio want, what Lucasfilm want, what George wants, what kind of stormtrooper do you want to see, because they've been faceless for a long time. We don't know who they really were. And so for me, I just wanted to bring a personality to something that was otherwise seen as just one of the many and the guys that can't shoot straight. So I wanted to bring some layers to that. So I say it was, J.J. Abrams' guidance. That's what I was saying.
Well, which reminds me, one of the coolest shots in all of those sequences, you take off the helmet and then you look around, what are we doing actually here? You don't see what happens you don't see what the camera sees until you see it on screen.
Yeah.
Did that provoke any emotions in you when you saw yourself, like screen wide, just your face popping up?
Oh yeah, it did. Actually, JJ showed us the trailer while we were still filming the movie. So he had cut the trailer together already, and he was like, "This is going to be the first teaser trailer," and he had it on his iPad. It's not as cinematic, as you want it. But we watched it, and I was really excited for everybody to see it because it's cool being a fan of something, but being a fan and then being in it is a whole different kind of experience.
Up front, face first.
Yeah. Kid in the candy store, though. Yeah.
Hey John, how are you, brother?
I'm good, man.
So I have a question about Pacific Rim. So how did it feel to actually be the son of Idris Elba? Because I know obviously even for you he's like one of the
I mean, all it means is that I'm good looking, man. That's all it means, you know. I get the Idris Elba DNA, and so you know, it was fun. It was fun, and I think I really loved what Guillermo del Toro did in the first movie. So to play a character that's in line with how Idris made that character iconic was for me another blessing and another franchise, you know, which was cool.
And will there be maybe a third one coming? It might be.
I don't know. I hope so, man. But it's up to the studio gods. Let's see what happens.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going over right there because they feel left out. Once
you haven't really been on this side.
Yeah, I'll get to you because I promised you, and then okay.
Who's your favorite Jedi and who's your favorite Sith?
My favorite Jedi is Kit Fisto. You guys know Kit? That's my guy right there. Yeah, he the guy right there. And my favorite Sith, I would say Palpatine. I really love Palpatine. I love his story. I think he's a formidable villain. You know what I mean? And I still think he's not dead. I mean, Palpatine has returned. Yeah.
Singing Elvis songs in some dingy bar together with Elvis, probably. They survived.
Yeah, that's a good way to think of it, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
Well, just after Force Awakens, Carrie Fisher died. How do you remember her?
Oh, I remember Carrie as being charismatic, very smart. She doesn't care about anybody's opinion, and a very, very brave woman. But really fun. Carrie was the spark of the set on The Force Awakens. We had a good time with her. Yeah.
To your left here.
I got a question. Which did you like filming more, Pacific Rim or Star Wars?
I would say Star Wars. Star Wars for sure, because I was more familiar, we had more time. Working with the same people for a good amount of years, you start to build like a family. Pacific Rim was fine, there was nothing wrong with it, but Star Wars was more of a longer commitment, which had more benefits in that sense with the people, you know.
And how about Attack the Block?
That was my favorite one of all time.
I so love that movie.
I loved it.
Too few people have seen it.
I know. If you haven't seen it yet, go see Attack the Block, you know. It's a bit bloody and not as kid-friendly as Star Wars, by the way. But I originated from more kind of grounded, dangerous movies, so you should check it out.
Hi John, how you doing?
How you doing,
I have a
Batman?
question. I was wondering, what was it like working with Rian Johnson compared to J.J. Abrams? And did you have like a preference?
No preference. Are you trying to get me fired or something?
All these preferences. Who did you hate more?
Yeah, right.
Who should we eliminate?
They were both good in their different ways, and I think that's why they were hired. I think with JJ, because I did the whole audition process with him, I was more, fixated onto his, his view on what the franchise would be. And Ryan brought a fresh new take that I didn't necessarily like all the way, but I respect the platform and the power for him to be able to kind of spiel his own creativity on Star Wars. But I love what they're both of them coming into the game and having their own kind of flow. I enjoyed it.
And then, quite in the middle, a Jedi.
That's a Jedi.
Hi.
Hello.
Why do you think that they set you up with like some sort of Jedi-ish thing? Because I know you fought with a lightsaber and maybe you're force sensitive, but there's nothing much.
I have no idea, but I think that it could point to the fact that Finn was the only one that knew where to land the speeders in The Rise of Skywalker, and there was no way for him to know that without some force ability. And also, no one in the Star Wars universe has been given a lightsaber and actually used it just off of the bat. You have to go through Jedi training. The last guy to use it casually was Han Solo, and that was just to cut the chains off. He used it as a tool. So for Finn to use it and know how to wield it, there must be some power behind that. And then the last thing I would say is, as a stormtrooper who has been brainwashed into believing in something powerful has to draw you out of that to defect. And I would say in that universe, that would be the Force.
Right here in front of you.
Sorry, I was forgot the name before the first question, but I was wondering how you admire Harrison Ford and also Carrie Fisher and Carl Weathers.
I love Harrison. Harrison's a good guy. Dangerous, old, young guy. He's old and young at the same time. You know, I love that about Harrison. I think that Harrison, being Han Solo, brought such an integrity to our side of the franchise, the sequels. I don't think that the sequels would have been as successful without the presence of Han Solo, the charisma of Harrison Ford specifically. And I think it was just great fun to be able to, you know, say that I've worked with a legend, you know what I mean? That's kind of cool to have on your roster in your 20s. Yeah.
Hi. My question is, what was the favorite outfit you worn across all the sequel trilogy?
I would say the Finn Rebel outfit in the Rise of Skywalker. I liked the jacket, but I didn't love the jacket.
What?
Because, you know, I wanted to, you know, be more Star Warsy. And I think being more Star Warsy means, you know, you got to have the boots, the colored pants. I got my, you know, Han Solo-esque gun strap on my left leg. I had the waistcoat with the Rebel shirt. And then I had these, what do you call those things that Black Widow wears? Those, you know, gauntlets, yeah. I had those, and I never had that before. And I think that's very Star Wars, you know what I mean? So Rise of Skywalker costume is the best to me.
All the way to your right side here.
Hi, John. So you conquered Star Wars. What's next? Marvel? And if you could do
What's
Marvel...
this with Marvel, guys?
If you could do that, what would be the superhero that you want to play?
I'm more into grounded characters at the moment. You know,
Grounded characters that fight aliens in most of your movies.
Yeah, and that's
a through line.
Yeah. It's a through line, but there's also movies that I've done that a lot of people haven't watched, especially if you're on a studio movie diet. I suggest you change your diet a little bit, watch other stuff.
Which one would you recommend especially?
I would say Attack the Block is a great one to watch.
Yeah.
I'd say The Woman King is also a great one to watch with Viola Davis, and They Cloned Tyrone with Jamie Foxx.
They cloned Tyrone. They did?
Yeah.
Oh, God, what are they going to think of next?
Okay, I actually wanted to talk to you about like The Woman King. As a young black actor, like how did it feel to actually play and represent like the African continent?
That was fun. That was a breath of fresh air because I'm from the UK, but I'm African. I'm Nigerian. So to go back to Nigeria, to go home, and to shoot somewhere that is more relatable to my heritage and culture, it was very honourable. I really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I've done Star Wars, I've done Pacific Rim, I've done all these different things. But to my parents, The Woman King is the best thing I've ever done. You know, they prefer that over anything I've been in, and so that it was nice to do a movie that they relate to more than anything I've done. You know.
Well, speaking of like as a black actor, there was a lot of vile backlash when the trailer was released, just because people had a certain kind of preconceived image of how stormtroopers would look like underneath their helmets, and you were something quite different, perhaps too fresh to handle. But how did it affect you at all, or were you quite able at keeping all those comments and all that violence at bay?
Yeah, I mean, that was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I'm 33, so yeah, it did affect me at that age. To be honest, I wanted to go out into the streets and just have one-to-one combat with each one of them. You know what I mean? But you know, as the years pile on, you have to concentrate on most of the fandom. And most of the fandom are not like that. They don't really care. You know, it's so many aliens, green, pink, blue. Who cares if one is brown, very good looking, and has amazing sex appeal?
Oh wow! Just look at the mustache.
You know what I mean? So and also, you know, look at Oscar Isaac, what we did with Finn and Poe, and that bromance and that energy. You know, Oscar also being from Guatemala and having his own unique culture. I think that's a good way to expand a universe that's accepted all different types of species for a long time. So.
Hello and welcome to the Netherlands.
Thank you for having me.
I have a question that maybe ties into that a bit. I feel like for the sequels, this might be a naughty statement, but that they didn't quite commit to the new characters, including you, but also Daisy and Oscar, and that it kind of course corrected or changed its course like in the middle. And was that something you felt? Was that something you were aware of? And how do you feel about that?
Yeah, definitely. I've been very vocal about my opinions on the planning of the franchise. It did come across quite spontaneous, and we'll see how it goes, which I don't think is appropriate for something as special as Star Wars. So I hope in moving forward, as they're expanding the universe with Disney Plus, hopefully they make more of an effort with the feature films to plan ahead and to give us an arc that is worth us waiting near enough 1 to 2 years for. You know what I mean? So I think they're aware at this point that there does need to be a creative change. Maybe fresh new minds and fresh new people to come in and advance. And then, I don't know, to a certain extent, get the fans involved more. The fans have had brilliant, ideas, So hopefully they start to do that, and we can get a cinematic franchise back out of Star Wars, because I do love the Disney Plus shows, but there's just something about Star Wars that has reminded me of cinema, and it's the case for loads of people since 1977.
So much so that people went to see like the prequel trailers. Just people forgot about it. They went to cinema just to see the trailers and then left.
I mean, even till today, I think the prequels they re-released it and it did well at the box office again. So, the Star Wars fans are committed. I think that Star Wars fans just want a good storyline, great stakes. We don't want any character earning powers easy. We want people to struggle for what they've got, just like Luke, Han, and Leia. That's what you would want.
Cool. I've also a question. Is there any actor or director you really want to work with in your career?
I would love to work with Christopher Nolan. That would be a flex. And then I'm just going to be in a Bond movie and they're going to be like, no superhero outfit.
Hi. For my friends who couldn't be here, they wanted me to tell you that you were legendary for that one tweet that was like, M28 and don't ship anything, and I also think that was very funny.
Yeah, I really didn't. Not that serious, I loved going back and forth with people online sometimes because I think it's fun. It's a fun conversation to have. You just banter. But yeah, that was a statement that everybody took to, and I didn't know why. It was just a casual day on Twitter.
What did it say?
Well, it was about. There are these shippers online. I don't know. There's different types of shippers, and I was just responding ever so pleasantly to one of them. See, I don't really ship, so it's not really my problem. That Arcane costume is incredible, by the way. You look brilliant. I'm kind of starstruck. I think you walked out of the show. Look incredible.
How are you to see a first Star Wars movie?
Nog eens hoe oud hij was toen het de eerste. How old were you when you did your first Star Wars movie?
I was. All right, buddy. You going for lunch?
Oh, when you first saw your Star Wars.
Oh, when I first saw I think I was probably 13, 12, or something like that.
How old are you?
9.
So there's still 3 years ahead before you.
Yeah,
oh, it's too late.
They watched it already.
You've been watching the Star Wars movies. These kids today.
Yeah.
What would be your biggest